Welcome to our continuing journey of professional learning, where we are taking a deep dive into Cognia's performance standards. Today, we'll be looking at key characteristic 4, growth in learning. Our learning target is to familiarize ourselves with the 7 standards in key characteristic 4. Our learning outcome is to find evidence for these standards here at Delalio, and later we'll be giving ourselves an overall score on the standard. We begin with the DODEA Blueprint goals: student excellence, school excellence, talent excellence, and organizational excellence. We are all familiar with DODEA's vision and mission statements. Next, we have the Delalio purpose statement. And here is the Mid-Atlantic District Teaching and Learning Framework. We rise for all students. Please take a moment to review the Mid-Atlantic District norms. Let's look at key characteristic 4, growth and learning. You might ask yourself, what does that mean? Cognia believes that a good institution positively impacts learners throughout their journey of learning. A positive impact on the learner is reflected in readiness to engage in and preparedness for the next transition in their learning. Growth in learning is also reflected in learners' ability to meet expectations in knowledge and skill acquisition. What are keys to growth in learning? Growth is evident when learners possess non-academic skills that ensure readiness to learn. Learners' academic achievement reflects preparedness to learn, and learners attain knowledge and skills necessary to achieve goals for learning. Our first standard is number 24. Leaders use data and input from a variety of sources to make decisions for learners and staff members' growth and well-being. Take a moment to review the important terms for Standard 24. We have reliable sources and well-being. Here are some examples of evidence for this standard. What evidence of Standard 24 do you see at Delalio? Next, we have standard number 25. Leaders promote action research by professional staff members to improve their practice in advanced learning. Take a moment to familiarize yourself with the important term for Standard 25, action research. Here we have some examples of evidence. What are some examples of evidence for this standard that you see at Delalio? Next is Standard 26. Leaders regularly evaluate instructional programs and organizational conditions to improve instruction and advance learning. Standard 26 has two important terms that you should become familiar with: program evaluation and organizational conditions. Here we have noted some sample evidence for Standard 26. What are some examples of this standard that you see here at Delalio? Next is Standard 27. Learners' diverse academic and non-academic needs are identified effectively through appropriate interventions. Standard 27 has one important term: interventions. Here are some samples of evidence for Standard 27. What evidence of this standard do you see here at Delalio? Standard 28 will support learners pursue individual goals, including the acquisition of academic and non-academic skills important for their educational futures and careers. Standard 28 has one important term that you should become familiar with, and that is acquisition of skills. Here you can see some sample evidence of Standard 28. What evidence of Standard 28 do you see here at Delalio? Next is Standard 29. Understanding learners' needs and interests drives the design, delivery, application, and evaluation of professional learning. Standard 29 has one important term, professional practice. Here are some examples of evidence for Standard 29. What evidence of this standard do you see at our school? The final standard in key characteristic 4 is standard number 30. Learners' progress is measured through a balanced system that includes assessment, both for learning and of learning. There's one important term for standard 30, balanced assessment system. Please look at some of the examples we have for evidence of standard number 30. What evidence of standard 30 do you see here at our school? This concludes our look into key characteristic 4, growth and learning. Thank you for joining us today.